Hi, I'm Kevin from Skate Yogi, and today we're going to show you how to build a skateboard. All right, first we're going to gather up all our components to get ready to build the skateboard. You'll need a skateboard deck, one sheet of grip tape, a set of trucks, we'll need some hardware, 8 pieces, nuts and bolts, eight bearings, and 4 wheels. Besides the components, you're also going to need some tools. This right here is a T-tool, or otherwise known as a skateboard tool. It has all the parts you need to do all of your skateboard assembly and maintenance. It's got socket wrenches for each of the different nuts and bolts on a skateboard, the mounting hardware, the axle nuts, and the kingpins. And it also has, right in there, a screwdriver, Phillips head, and an Allen wrench. So that's everything you need to build a skateboard and fix it at the skate park. And the last thing we're going to need for the grip tape is a razor or something else sharp. So kids, this is the part where you get your parents to help out with. Can either be a razor like this or a utility knife, anything else sharp. But please do have your parent help you out with that part. All right, for the first step, we are going to grip our board. So for that, you'll need your deck and a sheet of grip tape. It's like this. Now, you have a couple of different options when you grip a board. You can cut your grip tape ahead of time and put lines or do cool patterns. What I'm going to do today for the demonstration is just to show you just a standard grip. We're just going to go with one straight sheet like that. So step 1. We're going to unpeel the backing to the grip tape. Okay. Got our sticky side here. And what I like to do is just float it over the board and make sure it's totally covered. And then I let it down really gently so that it's not making contact with the board, just so that I know I'm covering the board completely. And then what I do is I'm going to press down the grip tape from the middle of the board and work my way out, kind of gently going to the edges and working from the middle out. The reason I'm doing this is to avoid any bubbles. If you just put your grip tape down and just push it down wherever, you might just start to get bubbles on your grip tape. So I'm just kind of working it out gently there, and then giving my skateboard a nice little massage here. All right, so that's pretty well covered. Now to get even more pressure, I'll actually use the side of the back of my grip tape, so I can push down a little harder and spread even pressure throughout the grip tape here, so that I know it's pressed down really well and it's stuck on there. Okay. So now I've got my skateboard with the grip tape stuck on, and the next part is to cut out the grip tape. So I'm going to take a hard edge, like the edge of a screwdriver or anything like that, and actually just I'm going to trace a line around the edge using a good amount of pressure so that I know there's a nice, so that I'm making a nice line around so I know where to cut. Okay, there we are. So you can see the outline of the skateboard right there from tracing that around. That also helps make a nice connection between the grip tape and the skateboard deck. Kind of like tracing a leaf. Next step, now that I have the line traced out, is I'm going to take the razor and cut the excess grip tape off. And the way I do this, people have different methods, is I'll start from the top right corner like this, and then I cut my way into the line, and from here I'm going to hold the grip tape, the excess grip tape, and pull the blade towards me like this, cutting at an angle. At this point, I'm going to rotate 180 degrees so I can continue going in the same direction. All right. So now, trace the outline. That looks pretty nice. I did a pretty good job there. So then we take a little bit of our excess grip here. I like to fold it over so you make a nice little piece of sandpaper. And then you take that and smooth the edges so you have a nice edge where the grip tape and the deck meet. It's nice and smooth. Right. That is a gripped board. Okay. Okay, the next step is going to be to mount the trucks. And the first thing we're going to have to do is to punch the holes out where the bolts go through. You can either use a little pointer or a sharp object to pop the holes through this side, or if you don't have something on hand, you could always just use one of your bolts to put a little pressure through. Won't make the hole, but you can see where those holes are just to mark the spot. You can do that for both sides. Then you can use your screwdriver from your skate tool Okay, and then I'll do the other side. All right, so now we have our holes made, and we can start by taking 4 of the bolts and putting them through the holes we just made. The way I do this is once I put the bolts in, I take 4 of my fingers, hold the bolts, flip it upside down like that so the bolts don't move. I take one of my trucks. You want to go with the kingpin on the inside. Don't make the mistake of doing it backwards or you'll have a hard time riding your skateboard. And then line it up with the bolts there. And then get your 4 nuts ready. And then you can finger tighten each of the 4 nuts. Now that we have all the nuts finger tightened, I like to put the board on its side like this. Then I take my skate tool and the screwdriver inside. I'm going to use the smallest side of the skate tool. This is the smallest socket wrench for the mounting hardware. And I use this side on the nut, and then I use my screwdriver on the other side. And then I turn to the right to tighten it down. I start by doing it just a little bit tight and work my way around. I don't want to tighten it too much on one because I want to make sure everything is straight before I tighten it too far down on one bolt. So I just do a quick pre-tighten. Some people like to use a power drill for this. I prefer a hand tool because I can really feel the tightness is just right, but maybe for taking it apart, the power drill is a little easier. Okay, now I have them all just a little bit tightened down with the tools. I'm going to take the board and look down the side and just make sure everything looks straight, that it's not off at an angle. And now that I think it does look just about right, I'm going to go ahead and tighten down all the bolts completely. When I'm doing this, what I'm looking for is I want to see that the top of the bolt is flush with the grip tape, or even maybe just a little bit sunk, that it's not sticking up like this. That would be a sign that your bolt is still a little bit too loose. But on the other side of it, you don't want to tighten it too much to compress the wood, so you don't want to sink that too far in. I'm going to go ahead and finish the other bolts. All right, that looks pretty good on the top. On the bottom, I can also just check and make sure that all the bolts have about the same amount of threads coming through. That way I know I evenly tightened down the bolts. And the next step is going to be to do the other side. So now I'll go ahead and do that. Okay, now we have both trucks mounted to the deck, and we are ready for the next step, the next and last step, which is to put our wheels and bearings on. So we are actually going to use the axle on the truck as a bearing press. So in order to do that, we just have to remove the axle nut and both of the axle washers here. Those are these two little guys, axle washers. And then I'm going to put the bearing on with the shield facing down. I'm going to put the wheel on here and then use a good amount of pressure to make sure that the bearing goes into the wheel. I'm going to put another bearing on and then repeat that for this side. You can spin it to make sure it's been mounted properly, and then repeat that process for all 4 wheels. Okay, now that we have the bearings inside all of the wheels, we can start putting our wheels back on the trucks. Start here with, we're going to start with the axle washer. That goes on first. Then we put the wheel assembly, and like that. And then we put the second axle washer on there. It's kind of like a washer sandwich. Those washers help protect the bearings. And then we put the axle nut on. We use the skate tool, the medium size socket wrench, to do that. I tighten by turning to the right. And as I'm tightening it, what I'm checking for is that I don't want to over tighten it and compress the bearings. I want to tighten it just so that there's a little bit of wiggle room. So I pinch the wheels with my finger and move up and down just to make sure there's a little bit of wiggle. That way I know the wheel will spin freely. Now I'm going to go ahead and put the wheels on all of the rest of the sides in the same order. All right, now we have all the wheels mounted, so that was the last step. Your skateboard is completely assembled at this point. One thing you might want to check before you go out and ride the board are the trucks. Sometimes they're shipped pretty loose, so you might want to check the trucks and make sure they're the right tightness. If you do need to tighten the trucks, you can use the largest side of your skate tool. Biggest socket wrench there, right on the kingpin nut, and twist to the right if you want to tighten that. Oops. If you want to tighten that, you can check it with your hand, see if that's about right. Okay, so that's how you build a skateboard. I hope you guys found that helpful. If you have any questions, please leave it in the comments below. You can subscribe to us here at Skate Yogi, follow us on Instagram, and now it's time to get out there and skate. All right, see you later.